am live once again for this afternoon chat. And, just really wrapping up this day here.
Channel 3, for this shot, we're looking at this intersection.
So, I been just chilling out, been watching a little boxing, man. As you guys can see, the caption of Arturo Gotti versus Oscar De La Hoya. And I like the idea of the fight, but it was, you know, Oscar De La Hoya was just too big for Gotti. But Gotti nonetheless came in throwing thunder, and he rapped. He actually dropped De La Hoya in the first fight. Well, in the first fight, his only fight, but in the first round. And man, he hit De La Hoya and he knocked De La Hoya off balance when he caught him because his punches were like, Arturo Gotti had some great power, man. And he was a small guy. He was probably like Broner's size, Teofimo size, really, to be fair. But he did fight at 147, and that's where he fought Oscar De La Hoya, and man, it was a great thing to see, because there were two very high profile fighters. Of course, De La Hoya was on a different level. And to really go into depth in that, De La Hoya's ass was like kind of snobbish towards the camp of Gotti, thinking he was pretty much better than him and all those. Um, but Gotti was nonetheless, was down for the whatever, so they banged it out. And, Gotti was game, man. He just had that paper thin skin, you know. Um, so I like to watch classics. It reminds me of the ESPN classics that used to come on. Man, they had a channel dedicated, for old fights. So um, yeah, man, that was some cool stuff. So I was watching a little bit of that today, and looking looking next to forward to the sport of boxing. We got Frank Sanchez is there. What's your content about, bruh? I don't have any content subject actually. It's just a afternoon chat. So we're not really just pinpointing everything. We can talk about whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really have a subject. That's why I didn't put anything. You know, but we can talk about whatever. You know, I mean, if we have to absolutely talk about something, let's talk about something. You know, uh, yeah, that's what I say. You guys come in, hit that like button, if you will. I Frank Sanchez, he's all jammed up, so I guess something was wrong with him. I just wonder how much of that was the injury versus how much of that was uh, him just getting overpowered, and Caballero sticking to his game plan and really doing what, he came in there to do. Because, I mean, if you look at Aget Caballero fought Frank Sanchez the same way he fought um, Arslanbek Markmadov. So it was the same way, and he look executed his game plan beautifully. You know what I'm saying? Wilder found dead. Wilder found dead. Google it. What the hell? What are you talking about? Nah. Say it ain't so. Hold on a second, guys. Duty calls. Question: does Haney get his brakes back now? It's the part of Ryan's suspension too, because Ryan beat the brakes completely off of him. Just asking. Haney got to fight Ryan, man. He has to fight Ryan, because if he doesn't, if he never fights Ryan, people are always going to remember that ass whooping. Yeah, I know, right? Let me check that out. That's kind of bothering me too. Unless it's a hoax, you know, people hoax. I don't think Wilder's dead. I hope he ain't. That'd be shitty. Let's see. Wilder not dead, Kurt. Well, we got to find out. Let's see. Nah, he's all right. Your name, your man, Kurt, love from the UK. Curtis Mall, counterpunch to you. Appreciate it. Yeah, nah, he's fine. He's fine. You know, I'll be saying that, you know, because Wilder, no, bro, no. Wilder gave us some good knockouts, some very memorable statements. Yeah, all that good stuff. To be serious for a minute, thank you for constantly streaming. I'm 36. My partner of 16 years died early this year, leaving me to raise our 2-year-old son. I put you on when I have the house jobs done. Appreciate you, Jesus. Yeah, man, like a lot of things, like I'll put on some Joe Rogan or something like that, you know, and listen to, like if I got a road trip or something like that. And so I do appreciate the content of others, as well as people appreciating my content. You know, like I started as a fan of boxing. You know, a lot of people, you know, I used to listen to a lot of people. And, you know, sometimes when you hear people and you think to yourself, like, I can do better than that. I didn't really even think that I could do better than other people, because I had to actually get talked into it by a friend of mine. Shout out to Lamar Sane, you know, from Fresh One Media. And we started the channel, and he was just like, man, you know a lot about boxing. Why don't you start your own channel? You know, Leicester, New York, counterpunch to this day, counterpunch to you. Oscar Rivas versus Michael Hunter. Adari, I like both fighters. I just think Michael Hunter moves too much and would be more successful. But here's the thing. I don't think he would beat Oscar in a boxing match. But could Oscar hurt him? Yeah, because Oscar's a smaller heavyweight. And when you're dealing with smaller heavyweights, they're pretty much parallel to each other. So that's pretty an even stroke. Certain guys that are smaller, like Hunter, Usyk, those guys are better. Chris Bird's another. They're better at fighting bigger guys. When you put them in there with a smaller guy, they no longer have the advantage or the speed advantage or any other kind of advantage over the other guy. So it comes down to technique and skill, right? Kurt, I always like every video from UIC. Love what you do. Darth Slagle, appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you. What did Tayfun Fidan do? Povetkin fought bigger fighters as well. Yeah, Povetkin though had power, so he had an element that a lot of people don't necessarily like. Michael Hunter's good, but like, not saying he can't punch, but he's just not known for power. Povetkin's known for power, you know. And see, what people don't understand about Povetkin will knock you out. You better ask guys like Dillian White, guys like what's the dude's name? Tip of my tongue. Big guy. Kelly. No. I can't remember right now. Any tips on remain cool of first hit? Poker face, man. Focus. Povetkin, no. Povetkin and Hunter drawed, man. They had a draw. Because he dropped Hunter, and then Hunter came back and hurt Povetkin. David Price. There you go. David Price. Because I always get him mixed up with the Rhino. Beat. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Chris Bird was underrated. He beat one of the Klitschko's. I forgot which one. Also seems like a good, humble dude, too. Curtis Mall. He beat Vitali, and then Vladimir beat him. And he beat Vitali because Vitali, the fight had to get stopped because he tore up he did something to his shoulder. Oscar Rivas would be a bad style for Tyson Fury. Well, Tyson would beat him. He could beat him. Hell, if Dillian White could outbox Oscar Rivas, Tyson Fury can. Okay, so let's just remember that. Dillian White already been there, done that. The only problem is he had some bullshit about his drug test that they already knew about, that Team Rivas didn't know about, which I think that's bullshit. When I heard it, I'm like, that's not cool. You don't have information and then withhold information. Okay? So, him, Dillian White, so hard I thought he got a body on his record. Evander will kill your idols. Y'all idols. Evander will whoop a lot of those guys. I would love to see Evander Holyfield versus Dillian White. Think of that. The bad style matchup for Fury is I get Cabello. Well, we know Tyson Fury, he can be pressured. That's what Usyk showed us about Tyson. He can be pressured. And if you pressure Tyson, Tyson will move. And he's uncomfortable being pressured. The only thing that he will do, he will jab you and then counter you and then grab you and then release you and circle you and then repeat the process. Baby Peach and Yoshi, hello. David Price didn't live up to the hype, but Tyson Fury wanted none of that smoke. Yeah, and okay, those 3 years that Tyson was out, 16, 17, and part of 15, 16, and 17, he should have fought Tony Bellew. He should have fought David Price. He should have fought David Haye. There was a lot of fights that he could have fought locally, to get his shit up. And he really didn't do so. He didn't want to. He didn't want, and here's my thing. I'll go out on a limb with Tyson Fury and say this. Tyson Fury's whole mental thing, let's say for a minute that Tyson Fury's mental health issues is a scam, was a hoax, was a lie. Let's just assume it was. Not saying it is. Let's just assume it was. If it was a scam or a hoax, that means that Tyson Fury, if he would have fought one out of those fighters, I think one of those fighters would have ended up beating him. Maybe Tony Bellew, maybe even David Haye, because both of those guys were smaller guys. They were very athletic. They were very mobile. They were very slick. And, David Haye's awkwardness probably would have beat Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had the size, but as we know, the size is nothing if you don't use it. Okay. Pac-Man winning 8 world weight classes. Will it be done again? Maybe. Then again, maybe not. Because Pacquiao was an anomaly, but remember, Pacquiao fought a lot of fighters on a catch weight. So, we celebrate his weight classes, but Manny Pacquiao fought a lot of guys. Oscar De La Hoya on a catch weight, Miguel Cotto on a catch weight, Margachito on a catch weight. So he fought a lot of people on a catch weight, especially going from 147 to 154. David Hay punched hard. Yeah, haymakers. That's what they call them. David Haymakers. I can't diagnose. I'm no professional, but Fury does show classic signs of bipolar. Well, I mean, he may have bipolar disorder, but is that enough to stop your career? Is that enough to get you out of the ring 2 or 3 years? You know what I mean? I mean, that may have been, look, he may have bipolar disorder, but was he diagnosed at that time? That's the question you ask yourself. See, you don't have an argument unless you have doctor's documentation from a medical physician saying, hey, this guy is diagnosed with this. We don't know when he went to the doctor. We all talk about mental health. He talked about that shit in 18. Did he talk about it when he was on his hiatus? No. You know, he was just getting drunk and getting high and slamming broads and doing whatever he wanted to do. You know? What do you think about Mike Tyson and his current fight with a YouTuber? I don't like it. I would rather him fight someone else. Margarito got his ass whooped against Pacquiao. Yeah. Pacquiao broke his orbital bone. That was the karma for Margarito. Everybody knows Margarito cheated. Margarito was cheating for a long time. Just people couldn't catch his ass cheating. Because what happened? The hell? Dude, I hate flies. I can't stand them. Kurt will win Anthony Joshua versus Evander Holyfield. Oh, that's a good one. Because Evander can fight on the inside. Joshua can't fight like that. See, one thing about these bigger fighters, if you notice all of them, Wilder, Joshua's okay, Fury, they're not good inside fighters. You know, they're not good inside fighters. They're not good like smaller fighters, like Evander. Evander could throw those bows, man. Evander Holyfield can put you on Queer Street with 4 or 5 hard, sharp inside punches. Fury doesn't show strong signs of bipolar. He shows signs of a lying addict. Ooh. I mean, I don't know enough about, like, you know, I got a brother that suffers from bipolar disorder, and that motherfucker does lie. He lies a lot. You know what I mean? I don't think that's like, I think bipolar is a condition where you have extreme levels of emotion, right? Not lying. Lying is something else. Lying is a choice. See, lying is something that you choose to do. That's like my mental health made me lie. No, I'm with ass skipped on that one. No, bro. No. Mr. Ahmed counterpunch to you. Thoughts on Amateur Paris 2024 and LA 2028? I don't have a thought on that. Margarito took years off of Cotto's career with his cheating bullshit. Yeah, Cotto's good now, though. But, I mean, you see, here's the thing. You can't make up for a person's health, especially when a person was cheated. Especially the way he was cheated. See, he was hit with something that was physical. Something that was there that shouldn't have been there. And I'm not talking about PEDs of something that might have helped him. No. I'm talking about something tangible that Margarito put in his gloves to help him win, to help tear, rip, damage, flesh, tissue, skulls, muscles. Yeah. Come on, guys. They get hit for a living. Cut them some slack. If it is all BS, I will lose all respect for Fury. That is a scumbag move. Well, I don't think that he just wanted to fight at that time. I think Tyson Fury wanted to avoid that Klitschko rematch, and he did it. But I think as him doing so, it worked. Hey, I tested positive for cocaine. Then the nandrolone accusations came back from UCAD all of a sudden out of nowhere. And then he found himself drinking and doing more of what he was doing. And I think he developed a problem and he couldn't stop. That's what I think happened to Tyson. I think Tyson went too far down that rabbit hole with trying to convince people that he wasn't fit to fight Klitschko. So he didn't, because he didn't want to. Because he wanted to live on that whole mindset or that whole wave of I beat Klitschko and nobody else has done that in over 9 fucking years. So I will be the only one that does that. It won't be significant if I go in there and get my ass whooped by the guy that I beat once. He will be no different from who? Hasim Rahman, right? He would be no different from Rahman at that point. That's why he laid low, got drunk, got high, slammed some broads, had some more booze, got high again, slammed some more broads, repeated the process, and I think that became too repetitive and he couldn't handle it. So, Margarita cheated even though he had a massive size advantage for his weight class. A true coward. Not at all. Mike wasn't scared of nothing. Kurt, who wins Alexander Usyk versus a prime Ika Barabuchi? Well, here's the thing. We got to take Ika Barabuchi at his prime if we're going to take... we got to take Usyk at his prime if we're going to take Ika Barabuchi in his prime. That would be a very good fight. Because, see, those fighters back then were a little different. You know what I mean? They I think the fighters in the 90s, I think they hit harder. I think what we have now, we have fighters that hit hard. They're all heavyweights. They hit hard, but I don't think they had the concussive knockout punching power of the guys of yesteryear. I don't think guys hit like Mike Tyson or David Tua or Lennox Lewis, or Evander Holyfield or Hasim Rahman. You know what I mean? Or Ika Barabuchi. I don't think these guys of these days fought like that. And I think if they fought, I think the guys in the 90s would trample, would whoop these guys of now. That's what I think. I don't think they hit as hard. I think they're bigger, and I think the advantage they have is their size. I just don't think that they're, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Salute. Counterpunch to you, brother. UK heavyweights dominated USA in recent years. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they did it 20 years ago. Look at Lennox Lewis. But it was Lennox Lewis only. Everybody else that came from there got their ass handed to them. Let's look at Frank Bruno. Got destroyed. Who else was there, really? There was really no one else to represent the heavyweights. Now we had Johnny Nelson. Now we had Chris Eubanks Sr. We had Nigel Benn. We had those guys. But those guys, I don't think, would have beat James Toney at the time. Okay? Foreman punched the hardest. The guys today are just as strong, but power needs technique to be devastating. Ask Skip, I believe you. Stuart, what's up, brother? Counterpunch, man, everything's good. All of the USA's big men are in the NFL and the NBA. Yeah, but then here's the thing. The NBA really, you know what I mean? Those are longer, taller guys that are designed for certain things, and I don't think boxing is one of them. Not saying they couldn't be valuable or successful. I'm just saying those guys of those times with the basketball build, like the Deontay Wilder build, it shows you guys like Parker. That's why Wilder lost. He couldn't fight on the inside with Parker. His arms were too damn long, oblong, awkward, couldn't hit the target because his arms are long. Tank versus Pac-Man. Who you got? Prime for prime? I don't know. I think Pac-Man could beat Tank. Here's the thing. But Tank, with his counterpunching abilities and stuff like that, could probably score a knockout over him. Because, see, Tank aims for knockouts. He fights for knockouts. He doesn't fight for points. Anybody that fights like that is dangerous from rounds 1 to rounds whenever. But Pacquiao, yeah, Pacquiao in his prime, I mean at 135, I think 140 Pacquiao would probably be better. But 135 Pacquiao was good too. You know what I mean? It would be a very good fight between the two. I think Pacquiao has that straight left, but his right hand is very concussive too. But he hits you with so many punches that in and out shit will give anybody problems. You know what I mean? Because, see, the feints, you know, Tank would have to time the perfect punch. It took Juan Manuel Marquez 4 fights, over 40 rounds to do what he did to Pacquiao. So it's not easy. David Tua was a killer, but short arms. David Tua really didn't have short arms. He really didn't. He was just a short guy. You know what I mean? I don't think he had a shorter reach than Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz has little... Okay, let me tell you guys that got smaller arms. Andy Ruiz, dinosaur arms. Ruslan Pervannikov, dinosaur arms. Who else? Like, unusually short arms. Pacquiao has short arms. Best jab in heavyweight. Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis. What's your take on the Garcia suspension? A year? I mean, I guess that's fair. I guess they tried to, they're trying to improve and clean up the sport, I guess. So they have to start somewhere with the examples. I mean, hell, it could have been worse. It could have been 2 years. So it wasn't the best, but it surely wasn't the worst. Who wins? Tony Tucker versus Anthony Joshua. I'm going to go with AJ over Tony. But of course, that could be a banana peel. Jermaine Franklin has short arms. He sure does. I like that ball from that UK. He has physical shortcomings in every fight, but he's got the dog in him. He does. Ali versus Holyfield. A primed Ali would beat Holyfield. Holyfield would only he's pretty good with guys, but like guys that move in box, I think he would have problems. Holyfield also understand. Holyfield was good for his size. Holyfield had to be respected at heavyweight. And a lot of people didn't respect Holyfield at heavyweight. Loma has short arms, but his movement makes up for it. He does have short arms as well. You have to have good movement to be a short arm fighter. Yeah? Can you combine a peekaboo and a Philly shell style in one fight? You sure can. That's why it's important to learn more than one style. Peekaboo versus a Philly shell is a perfect combination to knock out and to beat everybody and to defensively protect yourself. Ali wouldn't have got into Holyfield's head either. No, Holyfield was a little bit more slicker than that. Holyfield was just Holyfield. You in a truck, cuz? Yeah, I'm in a vehicle. Yeah. There should be a 2-year ban and a loss of purse if you test positive. Ryan wouldn't have fought within a year anyway, so this does little. Holyfield, the faint man. Stewart, you need a solid chin. If you got short arms, you're going to take a few. That's true. You know who else got short arms? T-Rex. Lennox Lewis got into Holyfield's head. Yeah, Lennox Lewis started talking shit about his faith and him as a Christian. How is he supposed to be a Christian and he has 2 babies out of wedlock? Yeah, that pissed Holyfield off. It did. And then that's when Holyfield implemented his, hey, I'm going to knock him out in 3 rounds. In the 3rd round, I'm going to knock him out. Who you got in the Usyk Fury rematch? I don't know. I have to see them train. You know, I mean, because it's not like Tyson was like dog shit. He just didn't do what Usyk did. He didn't make the impact in the fight. You know, and I think it came down to conditioning. See, Tyson, yeah, he hurt Usyk too. But it's a difference between when he hurt Usyk. Usyk stayed composed. You know, he still remained calm. Yeah. Most people say, what about Tommy the Gun Morrison? Tommy the Gun Morrison, the Oklahoma kid, was pretty good. Diego Corrales, rest in peace, had short arms despite being 5'10". Yeah. They weren't. He was just tall. I don't think he had short arms. I think he had short arms compared to his height. Kurt, your NFL team. I don't watch football no more. I don't. I'll watch it with family and friends, but I don't watch it like that. I mean, you know what I mean? If it's on, I'll watch it, but I'm not like, I don't follow it. Haney retired for 2 years. I have a feeling Haney wants to assure that he doesn't lose again so he can rematch Ryan. He has to rematch Ryan if he's going to do anything with his career. But I mean, all you need to do is beat Ryan to make your career significant. That's bad, but he does need to do that. That's not the only thing he should do. He should fight other people. You know, he beat Regis Prograis. He decisioned Lomachenko, Linares, Kambosos. You know, he has a pretty good resume. So I don't think he should retire or sit out for, you know, all he's going to do is get rusty and get into trouble. You know, a lot of these fighters that lose their O's, man, they start tripping. The things they start doing, they start getting into trouble. You know, they start, you know, feeling kind of, you know, discouraged. I think he had AIDS his whole life, even during his youth years, and it inhibited his career. He couldn't have had AIDS his whole life, bro. That's just stupid. Because they tested him before that. He caught that shit in the 90s. He got with the wrong person, or he did some kind of drug that he contracted HIV, and HIV turned into AIDS. That's all. And he didn't take his medicines. That's it. And he died. And then really, Tommy Morrison, it was more than that. Because, see, here's the thing. A guy like Tommy Morrison, you know, just like Magic Johnson, those guys had the money to pay for those high-ass drugs at the time. Now the government finally has made them, in the last 10 years, have made them more affordable. Okay? So it is what it is. DJ Anton landed on live. Greetings from South Wales. South Wales in the building. Counterpunch to you, brother. Frazier versus Usyk. That'll be a good fight. Because, see, Frazier's going to stay. He's going to stay with Usyk. He's going to stay with Usyk. Haney needs to bump up. Have you seen the Fury said Usyk only won 3 rounds? His aura is gone. I did a video on him saying that he thought the fight was easy. I'll do another video on the 3-round shit and we'll break it down. I thought of it. I've heard it. I think Hatman made a video. I haven't seen his video yet of it. So, you know, I try not to watch other people's videos first, because I like a fresh interpretation of what and how I feel about it. So, like, I'll read an article and then I'll go off the article. Okay? That's what I do. What's the hardest fighting style to learn, in your opinion? CC Motion 1998. It depends. It depends on your, depends on you. How hard is it for you to, you know, styles make fights. Maybe a style is easier for you to learn than another style. James Bash coming in with that love. Always bless you with that cash. Peace, Kurt. I lost a lot of respect for Devin with the way he's handling the Ryan loss. Guess we see what people are made of when they take an L. James Bash, I think we see everybody. Look at Tyson Fury. Look at Tyson Fury. I mean, you know, like, it's best to just shut the fuck up when you don't have nothing good or positive to say about your defeat. That's what it is. Do you believe dirty business still exists? Oh, yes, absolutely. Styles are based on your unique character. Kurt, you know Prince Hassim Hamed, bantamweight from the UK in the 90s? Absolutely. I sure do, sir. Kevin Kelly, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out, Kevin Kelly. I'm going to knock that boy out. I am Muslim. Allah is powerful. I will beat all of these guys. I'm so pretty. Do you think it will be bad for boxing if Fury wins the rematch? Well, no. I think actually the heavyweight division will have some type of twist, but it will be. See, here's the thing: Tyson beats Usyk. If he beats Usyk, boxing will go back to exactly the same way it was in the heavyweight division. The reason for that is Tyson Fury's annoying when it comes to doing what he's supposed to do because, you know, he had that whole nobody can beat me shit. If nobody can beat me, then therefore I don't have to fight anybody, which is stupid. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But that was the annoyance of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was so annoying as a champion. Now, if he has all these belts at one time, it's almost like, okay, what is he going to do about it? And what is he going to do about it? He's going to do whatever he wants to do. Because you got guys like Mauricio, you got Pacasel in the WBA. You know, they're all a bunch of cunts. Let's just be real. They're not, none of those guys are very good people of character. They're not. They're all about money. Tyson broke Wilder. Well, Tyson was the only one that was allowed to do whatever with Wilder. He was just able to do it first because Wilder wasn't fighting anybody, because his handlers didn't want him in with just anybody. They didn't want that 15 million to fight Joshua. They didn't want that 12.5 to fight Joshua. And they didn't want that fucking 100 million to fight Joshua a couple times. They didn't want it because they weren't ready. That's all that was. That's all that will ever be. He never fought Dillian White either. Okay, so when we look at Deontay Wilder, I feel sorry for the guy now. I'm going to be real. I feel sorry for Wilder now. That's why I made my video, like, give him a break now. Because he's going through other things besides boxing, and when your professional life and your personal life starts to crumble in shambles, you know what I mean? You have nowhere to run. But Deontay Wilder, back in the day, was cocky, full of himself, being hood-wrenched, being tricked, being surrounded by yes men, straight delusional. Okay, yeah. And he thought he could do this and do that. See, he thought people around him were helping him. All they were doing was protecting him. That's all they were doing. Anthony Jackson, counterpunch to you, brother. Would Wilder have never been ready for Joshua? Wilder, here's the thing. Wilder, with the confidence that he had, you don't know what he would, because as long as you're confident, that means you're sure of something. He had a better chance of beating Joshua at that time. But understand that the people around Wilder did not want him to fight Joshua at the time. Because once Joshua beats him and he becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and he's still undefeated, and he makes more money than anybody, probably besides Canelo Alvarez, but at that time, he probably would have trumped Canelo Alvarez because he would have beat Canelo Alvarez at becoming an undisputed champion. Remember, Canelo became an undisputed 168-pound super middleweight champion in 2021. Anthony Joshua did not. He came up short. He didn't have the opportunity because the belt was being held hostage by who? Deontay Wilder. So they knew we got a belt from Wilder. We have an American champion. He has a following that's building because he keeps talking about Joshua. He doesn't have to fight Joshua to talk about Joshua, to boost his profile, to boost his morale. You know what I mean? To get the buzz around him. Wilder knew what Wilder didn't know, but the handlers, Heyman, Finkel, Deeds, those guys, even what's his name, Lou DiBella, even those guys knew we can keep Wilder where we need to be. And I don't even think Bella wanted Wilder, and he wanted the best for Wilder. He wanted the best for Wilder. He is the one that set up that DAZN meeting for Wilder to sit down with John Skipper to go over to discuss this merger, to discuss this opportunity, to discuss this. See, understand, people, the fight that just happened with Tyson Fury versus Usyk, understand this shit should have happened 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Should have happened 5 years ago. And what people didn't understand about it was when you had a guy in Deontay Wilder, which was undefeated. Then you had Anthony Joshua, which was also undefeated. You had the USA versus the UK. That fight would have been huge for what it is. It was $100 million fight. For what Wilder would have got, it would have been more money than he's ever received. It would have still been more money to this day that he ever received. And it was for an undisputed heavyweight championship. And they swept that under the rug like it meant nothing. You know? And you know what I mean? And that's why Lou DiBella told them all to go fuck themselves. He told Shelly Finkel, go fuck yourself. He told JD's, hey, go fuck yourself. He told Al Heyman, hey, you know what, Al? Go fuck yourself. Because he tried to make the best fight for his fighter that he was promoting. And they talked him out of it. Okay? And he was like, well, what do you guys really want? I thought you guys really wanted this fight. No, they wanted a split because they weren't sure that Wilder was going to fight Anthony Joshua. They didn't want the offers from Joshua. They wanted to pretend like they had some type of power and decision making over that. That's what they wanted. That's what they convinced Wilder of doing. And Wilder ran with it because he's not that smart business wise. Okay? And Shelly Finkel knew better. He said, there is no way I'm going to put my baby champion in there with Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua just took out the old king, Vladimir Klitschko. Was Tua flexible? Is changing styles? Didn't get to see him live. No. Tua should have been trained by Mike Tyson. If Tua would have been trained by Mike Tyson, he would have cut weight. Tua was just too big. From 1997 to 2000, from 2000. So in 3 years, Tua gained about 30 fucking pounds. And it was terrible to see him diminish. Yes, he was knocking people out. Yes, he could take you out with one punch. But the problem was, if he couldn't knock you out with that one punch, all he really has is a guy that's following you around with the possibility of hitting you, that if you're defensively sound enough, you can outbox him and beat him. That's all. That's all that is. AJ would have made Wilder pay for what he did to Audley. Poor Audley. No, he landed the right hand, but the thing is, I think Zhang took that punch. You know. But understand, you know, who did he drop with that punch? He fought Fury in 2000. He fought Fury in 2021. He fought Helenius in 2022. He fought Parker in 2023. And he fought Zhang in 2024. This fucking guy has fought once a year for 5 years straight. I mean, you can't make this up, bro. And look, again, yes men was surrounding that poor fool. That poor bastard was surrounded by people that jerked him off and made him believe he was just powerful God king like figure, that he didn't have to fight. He didn't have to show any type of performance or conditioning or exercise or consistency. He didn't have to show that. They preached that to him. Look at Malik Scott. Well, Wilder, he's just gifted with this God gifted power. It's just within. I don't understand the power. I see him and behind his punches. He just doesn't have to do much like a lot of fighters. He can just land that one shot and game over. You can't play with Deontay. You have to be in there and you have to be focused from rounds 1 to rounds 12. So if you don't do that, Deontay's going to get the best of you and knock you solid out and probably knock you into the next dimension. There's so many different dimensions to Wilder, but he only needs one, and the one is the right hand. And we know he has this, and he believes in his power, and I think that makes him more of intriguing element for Deontay. So I work in Deontay to get the tools that he has, that I know he has in the toolbox, that he can sharpen, that he hasn't used in a while. That type of shit. That's what you heard from Malik Scott. I'm glad Wilder made his money, though. Can't hate on someone who got into the business for his daughter. Nope, you can't at all. Wilder was entertaining. It's just a shame we didn't see him in more big fights. Well, we've seen him in there with who? We've seen him in there with Parker. We've seen him in there with Zhang. We've seen him in there with Tyson too many fucking times. We've seen him in there with Ortiz. He knocked out Dominic Breazeale, which Breazeale was once beating. Now, you could easily argue that Deontay Wilder retired Dominic Breazeale, because by the time he fought Otto Wallin, he wasn't shit, and he was out of the ring 2 years his damn self since that knockout. So, Ortiz was just old, but he was still game. You know what I mean? And then here's the thing. Deontay Wilder was protected in a way that people, could argue that he was this guy. Let me prove it to you. Deontay Wilder beat Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was undefeated when Wilder fought him. But Luis Ortiz, the protection was so massive that they wouldn't even allow Luis Ortiz to fight someone like Joshua. They would rather stick his ass in there with Wilder again, because they didn't want to kill the narrative that Wilder was this assassin and could only beat Luis Ortiz. Well, how do you stop that narrative from dying? Well, you don't let Luis Ortiz get in there with anybody else that could knock out Luis Ortiz. That's all. Kurt, who wins? Oscar Rivas versus Joe Joyce. Oof. I don't know. I don't know, because that would be a good fight. This is what I see, though, based on the history of Rivas. I see Joe Joyce swelling his eye up in the fight being stopped. That's all I see. And Rivas being tough, I don't think he will quit, so I think he will be damaged. I would think he would probably lose an eye in that fight, because unlike Dubois, which will quit, I don't think Rivas will. I think Oscar Rivas will fight Joe Joyce from rounds 1 to rounds 12, or if it gets stopped, it just gets stopped. But I don't think he will quit. I think he will try to go in there and find a way to avoid the jab, but get hit with the jab, and Joe Joyce will peck away at that jab against someone like that. That's what I say. Wilder's protected better than the people that are in the witness protection. You have heard of the game called Undisputed. Yeah, I've heard of it. Clarissa Shields versus Lucia Reichel. Who you got? I got Clarissa Shields. Lucia Reichel has the power, but she's old. She's old. Wait a minute. Lucia Reichel. I'm getting her confused with Chris Cyborg, and I think she was talking to Cyborg, and they said she was Lucia Reichel, but that wasn't Lucia Reichel. That was Chris Cyborg. Joyce looked horrible last time out, much like White did. Those guys need to start fighting. They need to start fighting, and those knockout losses, man, Zhang is an incredible opponent, and people are going to have to respect him. But guess what? People are going to get the foot off Wilder's neck and stop criticizing Wilder when Zhang knocks somebody else the fuck out. When he knocks somebody else spark out, like he did Joyce, like he did Wilder. You guys remember Joyce? He already knocked out Joe Joyce, bro. Joe Joyce had one of the hardest chins in the business, right? And he knocked him out, spark out. So, like, what are we giving Wilder shit for? He ain't the only one that's failed to the hands of Big Bang Zhang, the Chinese emperor of boxing. I don't like watching Joyce fight. It's like watching someone box in slow motion. He's just slow. Kurt, I see Oscar Rivas dropping Joe Joyce. Okay. A lot of old fighters look like they should retire. Time for a changing of the guard. Yeah, and I think that's why Jared Anderson is in a good position, because he knows that if he keeps winning, if he beats Martin Bakole, he'll be on the next step. He beat Charles Martin, and he beat Martin Bakole. You know, Joyce is not fun to watch at all. I like Joe Joyce, though. Joshua stop Ortiz and not getting hit as much as Wilder did. Yeah, I mean, that probably would have happened anyway. Okay? But of course, the narrative would have died. See, if Joshua would have beat Luis Ortiz, now Wilder, despite what he has to say, it wouldn't have mattered because Joshua knocked him out. Want to see Anderson versus Joe. That would be a good fight. I think that fight should happen. I think Joe shouldn't get discouraged because, yeah, his name is being mentioned, but he's not a star player. He has to prove that he is one, but he needs the opportunity first. And that's what I think is the problem. You hear of Bakahir Jololov, but you don't see him much. He doesn't have the spotlight. He doesn't have the exposure. He might have the talent. He might have all the tools to beat Jared Anderson. The only difference is Jared Anderson has everything that Jololov doesn't have. Wilder was always terrible. Awful resume, and was eventually going to get found out. I like Joyce too. He's a good dude. Boring. Just boring. Well, thing about Joyce, he doesn't have this knockout power. He's just big, and he has a gas tank. So I just like to see people work, and that's one thing Joyce knows how to do. Joyce knows how to work. So it is what it is. They tried to hype Joyce versus Joshua before the Zhang fight. Yeah? But understand, they were going to put Joe Joyce in there with Dillian White. And that was a bummer not to see. Zhang's fucked up a lot of things, man. Zhang and Usyk, both of those southpaws are spoilers. They kill fights. They kill potential fights. Because I wanted to see Joe Joyce versus Dillian White. That would have been a good fight. Two guys, not as fast, but throw leather. Kurt, I would like to see Zhang become heavyweight champion of the world. He probably could. He has the ability, he has the power, he has the chin. He just does not have the gas tank. He has everything else, though. Do you think if Anderson starts taking it seriously, he could compete with the top guys? Yeah. And he'll beat one or the other. Will he beat all of them? Probably not. But he will do what he needs to do, Kurt, do you remember Arslan Yayev, the heavyweight prospect from Russia? No. Joyce versus Chisora sounds like a terrible matchup. Joyce versus White would have been better. Yeah, I mean Joyce versus White would have been better. That's the fight I really wanted to see, but it is what it is. It is what it is, man. That's boxing is the sport that I love that I hate so much. Parker is a spoiler too. Yeah, Parker's a spoiler too. Parker's spoiling all these fights. You know what I mean? We still got to see Wilder versus Zhang, but we couldn't see Wilder versus fucking Joshua. We couldn't see Joyce versus White. You know what I mean? It sucks. We couldn't see Joshua versus Fury because of these guys, Usyk and Zhang. Those guys are killers. They're spoilers, bro. That would have been a nasty little British fight. Joe Joyce versus Dillian White. Bars. Give Uncle C versus Leonard Ellerby. Uncle C would have destroyed Leonard Ellerby. Leonard Ellerby's probably a little short, thick fucker though. You better watch him. But my uncle, he's tall and he's like my height, and the motherfucker can, yeah, he can throw, bro. My uncle can fight. Wilder could go down to cruiserweight and get a belt. He could, but I don't know. I mean, he thought about it. He thought about it back in the day. In your opinion, who is a complete fighter? Dimitri Bivol is a complete fighter. Have you seen Jaya Pattaya talking about Usyk? He would be forced to quit if he fought Usyk. Well, yeah, I seen him talking about Usyk. And if Usyk goes back down there, he'll get what the hell he's asking for. That's if he don't get clipped by someone like. See, here's the thing about boxing. We see fights that we want to see happen, but we have to understand the possible upsets from these guys that we don't really look at. Kurt, Joseph Parker versus Michael Hunter. Let's make it happen. Adari, let's make it happen. Then Wilder would retire if Usyk returns to cruiserweight. Andrea Ward is the complete fighter, the complete package. You got to look at the undefeated ones for that answer. Andre Ward. Who's your top 5 for pound right now? Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford, Anui, Tank, and Bivol. Yep. Andre Ward is such a dirty fighter. No, I mean, he just fights on the inside and he doesn't, you protect yourself at all times. And, a lot of times people, they depend too much on the referee to do something that they already know to do is fight. Yeah, Tank's a beast, bro. I mean, who else is down there can beat him? Ryan, he beat Ryan. T.O. might give Tank a challenge, but that fight ain't gonna happen just for politics. It's just not, bro. T.O.'s too big. They're not gonna fight Tank, or Tank won't fight them. Stevenson's not a complete package. He lacks heart and fucking punching power. He doesn't have the killer instinct for a complete fighter. What credible person did Tank beat? Very good question. Because I don't even look at Ryan as a credible opponent. I mean, you could look at Frank Martin. Frank Martin upset the little Dominican Ali, right? But I mean, what has he really done besides that? Tank is a picky as a FMM was. Oh, Floyd Money Mayweather. I mean, that's who pretty much taught him how to do that. Loma versus Tank is a good fight. I'd watch it, but I would love to see like, regardless of what happens in that fight, I would love to see what Loma can still do with Tank. Then I guarantee it won't be like Yorioki's Gamboa. And then, even when Tank fought him, he was just fucking old, and it was sad. And Gamboa was just doing it for the money. He didn't care about his record. He didn't care about any of that shit anymore. Because ever since Terrence Crawford beat him, he didn't really care. Kirk, can you imagine Terrence Crawford has a heavyweight boxer? He would be terrible. He would be horrible. I used to like Winky Wright mostly because he forced himself to become a left-hander. Let's be honest, left-handers have an advantage. One, a majority over fighters can't see the punches coming. The Boxing Source, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. When does Loma struggle against guys his size, though? I think he can still beat Tank, even though if he beats Tank at his age, he should be right back there on the pound for pound list. He would be where Tank is now, because just Tank hasn't lost, and Tank has he's beat a formidable opponent. You know what I mean? We just have to see what Frank does. Frank beat the hell out of blown up horse jockeys. Yeah, he did. He did beat the shit out of them. He gets no credit for that. Maybe I shouldn't have put him on there. I think he's more of a complete fighter, though. I just think politics and bullshit will never allow him to show his true potential because he doesn't care about any of that. He wants to make all the money that he possibly can and get out of the business. Can you see Benavidez stopping Canelo? I don't know. No, he'd be horrible. Like, Terrence would be, terrible. Let's put that way. He'll be terrible. Because, he would beat the shit out of mostly all these guys. He would beat the shit out of, probably someone like Usyk would give him, a run for his money. Just based on the constant pressure that Usyk would put on him. But see, the problem with Terrence likes to throw with angles, and he switch hits and he shifts, and that shit's dangerous. You imagine a heavyweight doing what Terrence Crawford does? Come on, man. I don't know what Shakur does, man. Shakur's not really on my radar. I don't really talk about him. I don't really cover him a lot on this channel because he hasn't done much. He's ran his mouth. He's pretty much like fucking Tank without the power because he talks a lot of shit like he's always done. You know what I mean? He doesn't have exciting fights. The fights that he does have, it's bad for his brand. His whole game plan of fighting sucks. People don't really want to see boxers, especially like that. They want to see monsters. They want to see killers. They want to see knockouts. They want to see fucking excitement. They don't want to see someone run around the ring because he's scared to fucking get hit. Nobody wants to see that. And I'm sorry. That's how I feel about Shakur Stevenson. And then for all the shit he talks as though he's someone that knocks people out like Tank does, and he don't do it. So now all you do is you run around the ring and box and peck and pick away and talk massive amounts of shit. That means that you don't really back up the massive amounts of shit that you talk. That's how I feel about him. And my rant is done over Shakur Stevenson. Anyone stops Canelo, they will be held in high praise because he's never been stopped or dropped. That's true. I might end up covering that Shakur's fight next weekend. Great, because I more than likely won't. I don't care for Shakur like that. Shakur was good. He had a lot of potential. He came out the Olympics and yada yada yada. But now, I'm sorry, I don't see him like that. And then here's the thing: someone with that less of excitement, as soon as he gets beat, nobody will really hear from him again. Nobody will care about what the fuck will happen to Shakur Stevenson. So Shakur Stevenson is becoming like the new Demetrius Andrade. But the casuals would say it's hit and don't get hit. Well, I mean, that's boxing, sure. But you got to have some excitement. Even Erislandy Lara. Look at Lara. I used to like Lara boxing. Because Lara just had this skill. He had the style. He was slick. He could do shit. You know what I mean? He could hit you from a long distance. He could hit you in a pocket. That was his style to box. He comes from the Cuban school. You know what I mean? But lately, he's been laying mother suckers out like it's no tomorrow. Because they figured out, like, look, I'm not going to get decisions against names that are more important than me in the sport, that make more money than me in the sport. I'm not going to win against these guys. I'm not going to get a Paul Walker decision. I'm not going to get a Canelo Alvarez decision. I need to start knocking these mofos out for dismemberment. And that's exactly what he's been doing. He's, and knocking them. Look what he did to Gary Spike O'Sullivan. And Gary Spike O'Sullivan, even though he's missed a step, but so has Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara showed people how it's done. He's showing people, hey, I can sit down on my punches. Why? Because his legs are fleeting. He ain't like he used to be. He couldn't use and bounce around and dance and circle and box. He can't do that shit no more. Now he has to stand his ground and use counter-punching ability and natural ability and grit and courage. He has to sit there with poise and wait for the right shot. So he has to drop these guys because these guys, he can't maneuver around them no more. He has to become the bull. You know what I'm saying? Against the bull. I got Lara beating Carlos Adames, but imagine if it was the old Lara fighting Adames. Oh my God. Well, like Lara just depended on too much. But he's showing you, hey, I don't have the legs no more, and I'm actually knocking people out, and I'm actually making it exciting. And you're actually looking at Lara like, damn, where the fuck has Lara been? Lara's legs are not where they used to be. This man is 40 years old. This man is my age. He's in my age bracket. He's in me and show business bracket. This man ain't got time to dance around and fuck around no more. This guy needs to knock people out. And that's what he's been doing. I've just joined. Could you start again? Okay, no. Jared Anderson should fight just like Terrence Crawford. Jared Anderson should fight just like Jared Anderson. Everybody wants to be Mayweather without the pretty boy era. Kurt, did you ever consider being a pro boxer? Absolutely. When I was 17, that was all on my mind. I used to train, but I used to smoke. God damn it. Hold on a second. Dude, this dude is tripping. He's like attacking me. Old man strength kicking in with Lara. Lara's hitting him with the long ass left, overhand left, looping left. He's knocking them boys out. Oh! You know what I mean? He's not playing. That man got bills. He got to make his mortgage. Lara got to make that mortgage. He ain't fucking around no more. You know, who are the most overrated boxer? Josh Taylor's one of them. He's overrated like shit. You know? But yeah, man, I used to want to be and it was just my lifestyle. Then I had a child early and all that, and I was like, yeah, I need to stay around here, you know. But no, man, I think who is overrated? Overrated. To me, Canelo was overrated, honestly, until he moved up and showed people that he was good. And I think it was just really the matchmaking also.
Come with us tomorrow, or is he going? What are you doing?
Golovkin was overrated. You know, I thought Golovkin was going to be better than he was, but Golovkin's still very, very good. You know what I mean? Like, see, Golovkin just wasn't better than Canelo, but I think Golovkin did enough to beat Canelo in the first fight. Could you see Ryan Garcia versus Boots Ennis? I think Ryan Garcia is overrated. I don't think he could beat Boots Ennis, but then again, let's see it. Let's see that damn fight. Let's see a big-ass, disciplined Ryan Garcia, because that's exactly what he will be. At 147, he'll come in. Errol was overrated as well. Errol was overrated. He was just Errol was good. He was just better than the people in his circle, I feel. He was a tad bit better than Sean Porter at the time. He was better than Danny Garcia. He was better than Kell Brook. And Kell Brook's not in that circle. He was better than I still think him and Ugas was some kind of staged bullshit show. I think Ugas hit him with shots that he, bow, he start, you know what I mean? He'll drop his mouthpiece. Dude, yeah, I knew Terrence would destroy him. I knew he would destroy him. Kurt, who wins? Terrence Crawford versus Jared Ennis. Ennis needs to move to 154 so we can possibly make that work. Because we have to see Ennis in there with someone. He ain't been in there with anyone that really tests him. He's been in there with guys that haven't. Derek James is overrated as a trainer. So is the Floyd fight and exhibition. I don't know. What do you think? More than likely, yeah. What do you think about Ruiz versus Big Baby? I think Ruiz will beat Jarrell Miller. I just hope Jarrell Miller beats Andy Ruiz. I don't think Ruiz is good for the sport. I don't. I think he's a pretty decent fighter. But I think Andy Ruiz is not good for the sport of boxing. For one, he doesn't fight enough. For two, he's been spoiled rotten by Anthony Joshua. And we've seen that over the last 5 years. We've seen him. For the last 5 years, we've seen Andy Ruiz turn into a prima donna. This man has fought 3 times in fucking 5 years. 3. Or is it 4? Yeah. I want to see Jarrell Miller win, because see, if Jarrell Miller beats Andy Ruiz, he could always then we can see Joshua finally get it on with Jarrell Miller. That's a fight I've always wanted to see. We can see Jarrell Miller take on Deontay Wilder. That's a fight I always wanted to see. We can see a rematch between him and Dubois. I mean, an in-shape Jarrell Miller taking on Dubois. That's a rematch that I wanted to see. I want to see Jarrell Miller because he knows how to hype a fight. If you pay the man the right amount of money, he will talk more shit than a politician, and he may deliver a knockout or two. It's not that he's boring. He's just the motherfucker just came in there overweight. He's not disciplined. If he was disciplined, if he disciplined himself as much as he run his mouth, he would be off the chain. He has a good chin. He's still never been down. He's got that one loss to Daniel Dubois. Yes, he's an ex-drug cheat, but all these motherfuckers been cheating. Ryan Garcia, Roy Jones Jr., Canelo Alvarez, Fernando Vargas, Sugar Shane Mosley. The list goes on. Okay, so let's get off that shit for a minute. He's a self-promoting fighter. I would like to see him go at it, knock out. I would like to see him against Aget Caballo, Arslanbek Markmadov, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua. I want to see Jarrell Miller in there with more people, now that he's off restriction from all the cheating that he was doing. He will fight him. He would fight him if the money's right, he would fight Jarrell Miller, because if it comes down to a point where there's no one else to fight, he will fight Jarrell Miller. And especially if Jarrell Miller beats everyone, because then Jarrell Miller is deeming himself worthy of a fight with Joshua. He's deeming himself worthy of a fight with Joshua, okay? And that's what you need to do. White needs to fight Wilder or Miller. He could fight White. That'd be a good fight. Miller versus White, the build up for that would be insane. Probably. They'll probably end up fighting, wrestling or some shit. You know what I mean? Knowing 2 big guys like that, because Miller ain't gonna back down, and Dillian sure the shit ain't gonna back down. So yeah, that'll be a good fight, good build up. But Joshua versus Jarrell Miller was a good build up too, and then we got to really see a build up for free. Days of Reckoning, people. I watch that sometimes just for a chuckle, just for a laugh. You see that fight with Fury versus Joshua in 2025? Yeah, I see that fight if Tyson wins. If Tyson has to beat Usyk, because if he doesn't, we don't know what type of state of mind Tyson will be in. Because Tyson is really putting himself in a situation. If he loses again, the shit that he says will come back to haunt him. And I think mentally, if he does have mental health issues, he won't be able to handle that. Prime Luis Ortiz versus Zhang. So that means Zhang has to be prime. Maybe Zhang. Zhang has a better chin. Luis Ortiz can be hurt. And he, yeah. Still be a good fight because Luis Ortiz will try to knock his face off. You know what I mean? And I think, and they're both fast. They're both good counter punches. Be a good fight. AJ won't stay long in boxing to fight Miller. AJ's made too much money, man. This dude's going to make money. He's going to chill. He's going to slam broads. He's probably going to have him a harem of chicks, which I totally agree with. Unless he becomes like a politician or something and he still has to give NDAs to the chicks that he slams or whoever, right? I disagree. If Fury beats Usyk, he'll retire. The AJ fight only happens if Fury loses. Well, we'll have to see. I just think Usyk's just the man. He's the man, bro. He's the man. Miller can only beat top names in an eating contest, not in a boxing match. But yeah, man, I think that the heavyweight division will be very, very interesting. Very interesting. In my opinion, Jai Opetaia is overrated. Prime Maris Bradis would have beaten him. Yeah, look, Jai Opetaia, he's good, but I think Jai Opetaia, man, I look, if Beterbiev goes up there, he would beat Jai Opetaia. I think Bivol would beat Jai Opetaia. Jai Opetaia has good hand speed and all that. I just don't think he has the experience. I don't think he's as gifted as those guys at 175. So if those guys at 175 go up there and fight Jai Opetaia, Bivol may have some problems because his punching power won't be there. But I think Beterbiev, with the massive amounts of pressure that he has, what the hell is wrong with this fucking guy? Go away. I mean, he's like he's attacking me. Kurt, how does Crawford do against someone like Marvin Hagler? Pretty good, actually. But Hagler has that pressure that bothers me. Marvin Hagler could, decision Terrence. But then Marvin was bigger. So how much does size play into a fight between Terrence and Hagler? But it's like, Terrence, man, people need to understand Terrence's timing and his punch placement is impeccable. And that's what people are going to have to understand about Terrence. See, I still think Terrence beats Canelo. Y'all can look at me crazy if you want to. Terrence will outbox, and he can outbox Canelo, and he will outfight Canelo. He's not going to do what fucking Jermell Charlo does. Jermell Charlo came for a check. That's all he came to do. He didn't want to get knocked out by the redheaded Mexican. He wanted to get a check. And he didn't want to take a lot of punishment. That's why he fought like he fought. He did that for the money. That's why he's sitting back eating oyster shrimps and fucking steaks with his girl or whoever. And he's looking and thinking back, you know what? I did a good job. The pressure Hagler put on Hearn was the next level. Yep. Terrence is one of the few that can constantly fight the best and still retire undefeated. Yeah. And see, Terrence Crawford is just one of those guys, man. He's just one of those guys that will keep getting in. And you see, the worst thing you can do is piss him off. Fucker. Told you. That's the worst thing you can do. So, and yeah, see, you piss Terrence off. He hits another gear. Then he hits another gear. You will piss him off, then he will go and destroy you. It's like, okay. And he'll start moving and feigning and stepping back and letting you run into shit and setting up traps. Man, that dude's bad, bro. And then you can tell he hits you with that. Look, I want to see Canelo versus Terrence Crawford. Turkey Al-Sheikh, Your Excellency. Make it happen. That's what I want to see. I'm not looking at you crazy, Kurt. I totally agree with you. I think Bud puts a master class against Cinnamon. Yeah, I think because he's an all-time great. Terrence Crawford is an all-time great. He's one of the greatest of this generation. Period. Canelo is good for Mexico. But Canelo can be beat too by all-time greats. Terrence Crawford is another one. And the thing is about Canelo, he's been around long enough to know, wow, wait a minute. This guy, a little taller than Floyd, same size as Floyd, maybe punches a little harder than Floyd, got many dimensions to his game, ring IQ off the chain, can take a punch, you know what I mean? Great defense. Like those type of fights, Canelo better hope his punching power can take out Terrence Crawford, because if it can't, Terrence Crawford is going to punish Canelo. Because that shit, Canelo just comes up that Reynoso shit, don't work on everybody. You better ask Frank Sanchez. You better ask Oscar Valdez. You better ask those guys that thought that, hey, let me use the Reynoso way as a way to beat each and every fighter. You're mistaken. I'm sorry. It ain't going to. Look, no, Bud versus Benavidez, I ain't going to go there now. I ain't going to be that naive. I mean, if Bud does it, more power to Bud. I just give Bud just bragging rights for just taking on the challenge, but David's just too big. That motherfucker's at 175 now. See, he's talking that shit about 175 because he wants that Canelo fight, because he wants that money. Don't be stupid, people. David is not dumb. David knows if I fight Canelo, I'm going to make more money than I've made in my whole career in one night. And he knows that. If he gets that fight, he could always say, I got that fight and I beat the shit out of that little redhead cat. And I got paid, and I became a millionaire because of it. I can do all the cocaine and drink and do all the other shit that I want to do for the rest of my days if I fight Canelo. That's why he wants Canelo, okay? Don't get it twisted. But he is at 175 now. He's in for a whole different challenge now. Those guys at 175, those champions at 175, they're not messing around, people. They ain't playing games. And you don't play at 175. And he's going to find that out. But to bring Crawford up there, no, I wouldn't do that to Crawford. Everybody got a limit now. Come on. But I mean, he's just showing his greatness. Kurt, who would win? Crawford versus Mayweather, prime for prime? I don't know. That's hard to say. It's hard to really say because, see, Floyd is crisp. Floyd is quick, super sharp reflexes. What he does, he's like Achilles. He's like a black Achilles, bro. He like the thing that, like his style, he's better at his style than anybody that ever done it. At his style. Terrence has many styles. So Terrence would probably have problems with Floyd until he found out a proper way to go about fighting Floyd. That's how I think about it. David the Mexican cocaine monster finna be there. Canelo doesn't try to win rounds. He just tries to damage. It usually works. Yeah, he tried that against Bivol and it didn't. Kovalev would have smashed Benavidez to bits. Kovalev? Old Kovalev might have, because of his punching power, and he punches you from angles in from a distance, and if he can catch you at the end of his shots, yeah, those are where the punches do the most damage. The old Russian drunk, I call him now, Kovalev, he killed a guy. Yeah, Floyd's like Achilles, Terrence Crawford is a fucking style bender. That's making me want to watch the movie right now. He said it's too early in the day to kill princesses. Yeah, that's a good movie, bro. I like the original cut. Like I bought the one on Blu-ray, and it wasn't the same cut. It was like the director's cut. I didn't like that. I like the theatrical version when he fought Hector. And, that was a good movie, bro. I love watching that movie. That was a good movie. Skrilla 50, sorry. Bud beat him like Bivol did. Bud would beat him. Well, Bud would hit him with shots that he didn't see coming. He would hit him with uppercuts and shit and then slip. Hit him with uppercuts and slip, especially under the high guard. You know what I mean? The only thing is Canelo is tricky because he will use the high guard and feint. His feints will give anybody problems. So don't get it twisted. Don't say Canelo can't fight now. Hold on. Got to talk about Canelo for a minute. And Canelo can hit you and hurt you. And he is big. Canelo's flat-footed style would work against him with Crawford. I don't know. Because Crawford can move and throw uppercuts. It would be a good fight, though. Because then, here's the thing. What if Crawford punches harder at 168? Uh-oh. But it still has the reflexes? Uh-oh. You know what I mean? And see, the first thing people would do, if Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, people will be like, oh, and I tell them, I told you. Mm-hmm. Who fought? No, it wasn't Usyk versus Tyson. It was a big fight, though. My son couldn't sleep last night. Said there was a Mexican monster under his bed. Was his name Cucuy? Yeah, Cucuy. Dude, this dude's trying to fight me, man. He's trying to go toe-to-toe with me. Without a warm-up at that weight, I'd say the advantage is Canelo. Canelo KO'd an injured Kovalev with weight drain.
Hey, Cal.
Kurt, pay-per-view is dead. Nobody doing 1 million pay-per-view. Well, I mean, I just don't think those fights are here anymore. I think
Hey, how about your Cal?
it's what they need to do with boxing. They need to make boxing more reasonable, more affordable, and I think that takes away.
Switch them trailers back over. Don't pull that.
I think that takes away the temptation of stealing it. If you made a fight like Tank versus whoever the fuck for $29.99, more people would buy it. If the Americans, if they're not so damn greedy, they would understand that. If Canelo don't knock Terrence Crawford out, he'll have to do. He don't have a chance to win. Chupacabra. Influencers have ruined boxing. When Tyson wins next fight, they will be all about Tyson. The Mexican monster Canelo, what happened to Benavidez? Benavidez needs to worry about 175, bro. He said it himself, but then he turned around in the same fucking statement. I'm tired of people talking about Canelo. I don't want to fight Canelo. I'm right here at 175. So I'm here to fight anybody. If he wants to fight, he should have fought me. He didn't want to fight me. So it is what it is. I think it'll be a great fight, but I think he's scared. So, I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do. So he needs to man up and fight me. I'm like, okay, stop. Let's talk about 175. How much would you overrate Tyson Fury? I think Tyson Fury is a very good fighter. I just don't think he's better than Usyk. You know what I mean? And see, like I told people, again and again and again and again, Tyson Fury has to understand, once you say that you're the best, okay, that means you fight everyone. Terrence Crawford versus Sweet Pete Whitaker. I give it to Terrence. Sweet Pete was hard to hit, and he was a southpaw. Kurt, do you think Haney will beat Gervonta Tank Davis? No. I think Davis will knock out Devin Haney. Shit, Ryan Garcia damn near did it, so why couldn't Tank do it? That's what I feel. I think, Devin Haney would be. And now here's the thing: Devin Haney could outbox Tank, because we've seen what fucking Martin did. We see what Martin did. I was happy David Benavidez pulled through that. Tyson Fury biggest problem is discipline, I believe. Well, I mean, he's always going to be that way. He's always going to be that way, and I think he's going to stay that way. My family are gypsies, and in our families, we will prepare to die in the ring, and he's a cousin of mine. And if ye only knew what's going on to happen in the next fight. Okay, cool. Mayan Neven, counterpunch to you. Devin's defense has too many holes. But Martin did a good job with Tank until he just stayed still like an idiot and forgot how to use his legs to get out of, because that's all Tank wanted to do. Stand still so I can catch you with a few good shots and lay you the fuck out. He wasn't trying to outbox him. He wasn't trying to do anything. You know what I mean? Martin showed, the Ghost showed how he could beat Tank Davis. So if Devin Haney ain't too damn scarred over that ass whooping he got from Ryan Garcia, he could pull off a fight, an upset over Tank. But who knows? You know what I mean? But we've seen what Devin can do. We've seen what he can't do. We've seen what Tank does. Kurt, I think Terrence would have beaten Money Mayweather. He probably would have beaten Money. I don't know about Pretty Boy, but then Pretty Boy punched too much. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really want to say on that because they're both great, great fighters. And, like Terrence is fighting now, so maybe that's swaying my decision. Let's both let them be retired and see what they do versus what they did. And I'll tell you right now, Terrence has already did more than Floyd has done. He's already done more than Floyd has done. He's become undisputed in 2 different weight classes. He's going for the 3rd. Floyd ain't never undisputed and came to no unification anywhere. Tank flopped so much, so nobody cares anymore. Devin knew that the Instagram model's best punch was a left hook and proceeded to be pulverized by the same left hook that he knew about. Yeah, he's not impressing me at all. Devin Haney, and he might be scarred and shocked. He might be still shocked, people. He might be still cracked because of that ass whooping. You think somebody that ain't wants to take 2 years off? Come on, anybody? That motherfucker's shell shocked from that ass whooping, bro. That's why Devin Haney is taking that time off. He's taking that time off because that ass whooping that he got beat with, which, it's unfair or whatever. Okay, it might have been. Nonetheless, that man got pulverized, beat up, and he's shaken up. And since he's shaken up, he has to, he needs time off. He's scarred. And they 6 brothers, and they are all boxers, and I have matched them fight, and it takes so much out of them. Devin Haney is over. His career is over. He's not a real Muslim. I'm not going to talk about the man's faith. I can tell you this. He's acting more of a, here's the thing. These Americans, let me tell you about Americans. Americans need, if you're going to join something like that, look, when you're talking about religion, even Mike said this the best, okay? And Mike was, he dedicated his life to Islam, supposedly, and this is what Mike kept it real and said. He said, I wasn't really a real Muslim. I was just talking shit. I wasn't real like the rest of these guys. These guys that really put on for he wasn't doing that. And he was so real about it. And I think these guys, and I think everybody should really be real about your deity, whoever you are. You know what I mean? See, one thing about that, stop making the religion look bad because you're representing the religion, stating that you're a part of the religion that you're not even following. Stop that shit. Stop Ryan Garcia. Stop Devin Haney. You're wearing big ass gold chains and shit, Devin Haney. Where you getting all that shit from? You know what I mean? That Muslims don't wear that. Muslims from Islam, Sunni Muslims, nobody wears that shit all around their neck like that. You know what I mean? But the thing is, he follows it more than Ryan is a Christian. Christians are something else, man. You know what I mean? You got people, you got guys that talk that shit. Look, don't be perfect. Look, just give God the glory and be happy that thank God for the victory. But don't say I'm this and I'm that and I represent this and I represent that. You know, because here's the thing. Regardless of what you do in public, if you act an ass and you don't fill up to the bill, that's going to go back onto what you reflect, what you confess. And if you confess to be a Christian, people are going to look at that. Well, Ryan Garcia is a Christian and he tells somebody they can go suck a dick. You see what I'm saying? Tank Davis can say he's a Muslim and still say he can slap Showbiz the adult. Why the fuck would you want to slap Showbiz the adult? The dude's doing a good job at what he's doing. Why would you want to slap Showbiz and he just said committed himself or surrendered himself to Islam or whatever the hell you do over there, right? Come on, man. You know, like that's type of stuff, man. You know, like Ryan. Look, man, look, that dude. When and then somebody calls him false. Oh, you're just judging me. No, you're judging yourself, bro. You're judging yourself. You're putting yourself in a situation to be judged because you're not following what you're supposed to do. Don't make a religion or don't make God look bad and then make a bad example for yourself. I am a Muslim and is not allowed to wear necklaces of any kind of jewelry at all. There you go. I mean, that's it. Are we certain that Tank Davis can slap Showbiz without standing on a stool? I don't know, man. But understand, Showbiz is at least 200 pounds. Shit, Showbiz is probably at least 200 pounds. So if he slaps Showbiz and Showbiz can get a punch off, you know what I mean, with his pre-middle-aged self, he could probably knock him the fuck out. So be careful and understand, it won't be in a boxing ring either. See, a lot of boxers need to understand something very important. When you're talking about someone, especially these little dudes, they got these Napoleonic complexes and stuff like that. Ali was a good Muslim, but see, Ali also understood though. He stopped all of like Ali used to cuss up a storm, bro. But he knew that's not what you're supposed to do. That's not how it's supposed to be done. I'm supposed to follow the rules. I'm supposed to follow the laws. If I do those, I'm doing something right. I'm trying. You know, the only time religion gets brought up is where I live over the football. Showbiz is entertaining, and that's it. Showbiz is entertaining, you know. But understand this: Tank Davis talking about he's gonna slap Showbiz, and you like. Here's the thing: whenever you give your life to God, everything you do, your thoughts, what you contemplate before you speak, you will be wise and have discernment about what you say before you say it. That's it. That's all. You have to be careful for what you say because it may not be aligned with what you claim to follow. Period. I only worship the mighty dollar. Damn. It's amazing how fighters can win so many good fights. As soon as they lose, they're no good. Yeah, it's a trip. It sucks. Kurt, who Anthony Joshua's going to fight next? I don't know. Probably Daniel Dubois or Zhilei Zhang. I only watch Kurt, Bruce Vane, Boxing Bros, and J. Roos Theory channel. Skrilla 50 in the building! Oh, Isaac, Haney's mistake was trying to fight Ryan. If he boxed Ryan, it would have been boring, but won. Marlon Thornell in the building. What's good, Counterpunch? Man, I'm good, man. I almost been on here 2 hours. Anthony is overrated. I mean, Anthony tries, though. And he learned. He's done some things that had impressed me. You know what I mean? His boxing ability. I've seen a video of P. Diddy picked up Tank to tight hug him. Was that Diddy or that was Tank, wasn't it? What's up, Shawty? Take that. Ring IQ is pretty good too. I like Ring IQ. I haven't seen him lately because I've been working on this show. I mostly watch him on my TV, just flicking through YouTube channels when I get bored or whatever. But yeah, I like Ring IQ. Me and Jules go back to Facebook, man. We go back like 9 years back when we were all on Facebook. Me, him, IOTBA, which I haven't seen him in a while. So a lot of people really didn't transition well in the YouTube. A lot of them, that were big on like the panels of Facebook. And when they got to YouTube, it was just a different platform, and that was a totally different platform. So, yeah. Kurt, you should become a trainer and train Broner and Wilder. Ahmed Osman. Kurt, what's the name of your show? The show that I'm working on? Kurt, I didn't get my t-shirt yet. Mike Gordon, inbox me on Instagram. DeVille Kurt. Tank was playing with Haney in their sparring session. Just turned his back and let Haney use him as a punching bag while conversating with the crowd. That might have been the case. Oh, this is the Lioness. I would like to see Pitbull and Tank fight again. I mean, Tank's good. Tank would beat Pitbull. Pitbull's tough, though. I like his story. I like his testimony. You know what I mean? What he did for his family is real cool. You know what I mean? And he's fighting for his family. He's from Mexico, and he fights for his family. And he beat the shit out of Rolly Romero, didn't he? He beat the shit out of Yuriorkis Gamboa, like most people would do these days. The Cuban killer. Yuriorkis killed a guy. It ain't funny, but you know what I mean? He fuck out of here. Go away. Season 2 down. Love season 1. Yeah, man. I'm waiting for some action to get done. Get ready. I'm waiting. Kurt, you think Shakur going to be a man and leave Top Rank? Maybe. But then where would he go? Who would he fight? You know what I mean? Who has anything to offer Shakur Stevenson? See, when other people see how bad you are in the promotional banner you're in, who to say they want you? You have to be worth or worthy to be signed with somebody. Not if you act an ass and don't get fights and all this shit. If Ryan had a better defense, he could give Tank problems, but to me, Tank is the best of that division. But there's nobody there left. Tank's the best of the division at 135, but who the fuck is at 135 besides Loma? Shakur Stevenson talks that shit, but he fights between 130 and 135. Come on now. All depends on his performance this weekend. So Sandor Martinez fighting Barro after he beat Matias since Haney wouldn't fight Sandor. What's your thoughts on that fight? Sandor is a banana peel for most guys. Yeah, I'd say that. He'll beat Barro. He'll beat Barro. He'll beat Barro. Ryan is just a cheating bum. But yeah, man, we're about to wrap here, so I'm jumping off of here live. Appreciate you guys for coming on. Hour and 44 minutes. So we had a good live stream. Thank you guys for stopping in, dropping by. Of course, please subscribe. And everybody that are members that have subscribed to the channel, you should become members. And everyone has been counterpunched. Peace.